Thursday, the 16th of December 2024, and it's quite an exciting Monday morning right here in the city of Lagos and wherever it is that you're listening to my voice from. This is Voice of the People and to you. How are you today? I'm sure a couple of us are already on our way to work and trying to see how we can schedule or map out our day or give ourselves what you call like you timetable yourself so that everything falls approximately in time. Well, in as much as you're doing that, right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM, we get to keep you updated on what is going on within your vicinity, what is going on within Nigeria's socio-political landscape. That's practically what we do here. And beyond that, we get to analyze some of these issues, and then you call in and give us your reaction, opportunity for you to vent, criticize, give your recommendation. That's what we do here. But it is important that we keep you informed and give you that in-depth information that you don't get to see across most national dailies as well as most news outlets. Now, government CNG initiative states gas challenge, slow down federal government CNG initiative. Slow down federal government CNG initiative. I'm actually quite surprised at that. Do you know why? Because a few persons just traveled to India precisely to check on how the CNG processing goes on from the compilation, how they couple the parts to the production of the entire process. And these influencers came and told us precisely that this is how it goes and that it's the safest and that we just needed to get centers across several locations in Nigeria. So it was quite funny for me to hear this morning that states challenge slow down federal government CNG initiative. I'm going to read that a little bit. The aggressive promotion of the compressed natural gas initiative in the last 1 year by the federal government recorded a slowdown. They're not really interested in the CNG because otherwise they would have voraciously pursued it to ensure that the centers, are located within their states. Even they are not using the CNG because it's actually leadership by example, isn't it? Well, I don't know how they intend to continue with this with all the money that was spent on those who went to promote the CNG initiative. Well, on the Daily Post this morning, on the major headline there says, Gale of defections, Labour Party suffers huge setback ahead of 2027. Well, this is not the first time we're actually saying this. There's quite a lot to actually discuss in that regard. The Labour Party has been suffering quite a lot of defections from some members within the party, defecting or cross-carpeting to the All Progressives Congress. And the major question is, what is happening within the party? What are the party executives doing about this? Regardless of the sanctions and declaring their seat vacant and taking legal proceedings against those that defected, what exactly is the internal issue, the foundation that is causing the fundamental problem within the Labour Party? And do they see themselves being a major contender in 2027? Because right now, Peter Obi has been quiet, literally quiet about activities in that party. He's just been doing his own thing. So what is the party up to and how will they fight the storm that is already, ahead of them? All right. That is also another situation or a headline, one of the major headlines on the National Daily. Another one is Vanguard. Vanguard actually says federal government overshoots 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira. Federal government overshoots 2024 borrowing target by 4 trillion naira. Now, as he prepares to present to the National Assembly the 2025 national budget largely saddled with funding by borrowings, the federal government is set to overshoot its domestic borrowing target for 2024 by 4 trillion naira, about 67% above the budgeted amount. Isn't that quite interesting? That's actually interesting, isn't it? Well, we'll see how that goes. We will be looking at the Daily Independent, or rather, no, let's first of all go to the Guardian newspaper this morning. And the major headline on the Guardian newspaper stipulates that, again, based on the CNG gas initiative, which everyone is actually talking about, says Lagos reverse FCT Oyo and 4.18 trillion naira VAT in 11 months. Lagos reverse Oyo and 4.18 trillion naira VAT in 11 months. Nigerian fiscal edge piles up 4 trillion naira unfunded deficit in 12 months. 2,000 megawatts of electricity stranded as federal government's power project stall. I don't think we're surprised by most of this information, are we? We're not surprised. Another interesting headline to consider is the fact that Dele Faritimi opens up on sending Peter Obi to beg Afe Babalola on his behalf. Well, Dele Faritimi said he never begged anybody. I'm going to read a little bit on that. Of course, a lawyer representing human rights activist and legal practitioner Dele Faritimi, Tokpe Temoku, has refuted claims that his client sent the former Labour Party presidential candidate in the 2023 general elections to appeal to the octogenarian legal icon Afe Babalola regarding an alleged defamation suit. Apparently, Temoku clarified this during an appearance on Sunday edition of Inside Sources with Laolo Konde, a socio-political program via Monitor television program, refuting the claims, however, that his his client did not ask anybody to go beg the octogenarian. And of course, we do know that the president is to face the Supreme Court today based on a particular suit filed by one Albert Charles Owuru, stating that he was the one who was supposed to win the 2019 elections. The president will be represented by his legal practitioner Wale Olanipekun today at the Supreme Court. Now, we don't know how that case is going to go, but it's quite obvious. Some people say it's obvious on how the outcome is going to be. Well, these are the major headlines I'll be looking at this morning on the front page review. I'm going to be speaking with Rufai Oseni very shortly. He'll be the one to give us his reaction, rather, on some of the headlines that you've actually heard me read on the select national dailies. And Rufai Oseni will be giving us his perspective on some of these issues, or rather some of these headlines that we'll be discussing. So kindly stay with us. Just give us a very, very short break while we actually speak with Rufai Oseni.
Hello? Hello?
Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yeah, I mean, the phone line is not clear. The phone
Can-
line is not clear. It's very woozy.
I can hear you well. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you properly. It's very woozy.
Wow. Okay, let me try calling you back. All right, the phone lines, let's see. The network should not misbehave this morning, so that we can hear Rufai give us his own purview. Rufai, can you hear clearly now?
Yes, it's a lot better now.
Thank you very much. So, Rufai, you heard some of the headlines on the selected national dailies this morning. Which of them would you like to react to?
Okay, I'd like to talk about ECOWAS.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, so ECOWAS, finally, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali have all said that they are leaving. And the ECOWAS Committee of Nations have finally said yes. Normally, according to Article 91 of the ECOWAS Treaty, there's supposed to be a 1-year wait period. But this guy said no, because they had gone to form an alliance of the Sahel region, and they're saying they're leaving. So they are bridging the protocol, they are moving ahead. But my fear is just the alliance with Russia and making our West African sub-region a battlefield for international proxy and interest and all of that. And hope these countries also understand that Russia is not going to be in their best interest. And the question is, will these guys keep a military rule forever? Because you see, the agreement ECOWAS have had with them is have a path returning to civilian rule. You cannot say, okay, you have stopped the nation, you are just into the military pool and just continue like that without having the path to come back to civilian rule. It's not going to work. So please try to come back. But these nations say no, they want to go in their own way. Let's see how it pans out. Because we have seen this play out many times. Once you have a military rule, it's going to open doors for balkanization. And that's why also civilian leaders should do well not to ensure that the military comes in. Because if you don't do well, if you don't follow the tenets of democracy, then things will not pan out well. But we can also say that effectively because Niger was an outlier. There was nothing wrong with Niger. It was just the military that decided to take over. Bazoum was doing well. The economy was on the ascendancy and all of that. So now that they're trying to open up with Russia as against France, it's okay. It's not today countries are going to leave ECOWAS. Mauritania left ECOWAS in 2000 because they were not in agreement.
Rufai, let me ask you, what have these nations, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, what have they been able to gain since they've been part of ECOWAS? If you want to critically look into the reasons why they permanently left.
They've been able to gain a lot of trade. They've been able to gain a lot of trade.
What did they trade? What did they gain? Because that's the reason why the military took over. There are situations, the ECOWAS as a whole has been quite dormant. They've not been active in their responsibility to the states that are within the union.
No, so that's not true.
Okay.
That's not true.
All right, give me an instance.
Esther, there are no facts to that effect.
All right, give me an instance as to why you think so.
The reason why the military took over was because of the military's own selfish gain. Go and check the economy of Niger. They were on the ascendancy as regards when Bazoum was there. Things were of an economic quagmire. At the time in this country, Niger had a refinery called the Sores refinery. All right, the military just deliberately took over. Mali, yes, there were skirmishes, not economic skirmishes, but dictatorial skirmishes. And that's why we berate political leaders when they're wrong. All right? Burkina Faso, all of this country came from trade ascendancy.
So if as you say that they had gained a lot, if you have to say that it was a selfishness
I cannot hear you. The line is woozy. The line is woozy. It's woozy back to
You're sounding like Barrister Darlington. Okay, I'll call you back. I think it's a network situation. I don't know if you're on your way to work, and it could be your location that is causing this, but I can actually hear you very well. So I'll reconnect. I'll try to reconnect with you again. One of the reasons why I'm saying this, Rufai, is that when this situation happened, the residents of that nation, can you hear me very well? The residents in these nations were happy with the military takeover. What does that depict? What does that illustrate to you?
So they were happy about the military takeover because of the excessive nature of the civilian ruling class, but not because the economy was not good. Every country in the world has its own challenges. And when you have your own challenge, people, mostly on the opposition parts, get excited because they think it's their time to get in. But it's not necessarily the case. There were people too that supported Bazoum. Hope you know that Niger will have gone across the flank because there were people that were ready to fight back in favor of Bazoum. So it's not a justification for coups. Honestly, there's no justification for it. And these guys initially promised ECOWAS that they were going to have a path to civilian rule. Then they changed the agreement midway because power was so sweet for them. Look at Assimi Goita, for instance.
Okay.
That said, he was going to have a path to elections. The likes of Goodluck Jonathan were talking to him. And the next thing, he decided to keep power and he changed his mind. So there is no justification for military takeover. It doesn't all go well in the end.
All right, Rufai. Now, with the president's...
hang on a minute. The people now, if you go and listen to the people in those countries, they're also crying hell because they are feeling the pain of this. So civilians will see the best part of it. Are politicians destructive? Yes. What we can only do is to call them to order.
All right,
but
Rufai.
in most of this country, it wasn't because of the economy. In fact, they benefited from the outlook of trade.
Okay. The president has been quite diplomatic ever since the conflict began and the gradual dissolution of these countries from ECOWAS. He has tried as much as possible to see how they can come back to the union and the differences will be cleared or the conflict of interest will be cleared. But apparently, these countries have decided to stay on their own. Now, the question is this. Nigeria does have some military ties or relationship with Niger in fighting Boko Haram along the border. Will this affect that relationship? Will this affect that military camaraderie?
So there are many forums at which Nigeria fights on the joint front. There's the G5 Sahel, the military association, and a couple of other platforms like that. Most importantly, on this flank, Nigerian troops have been doing a lot of work. When Boko Haram comes to Niger territory, they fight them back. When they go to the Chadian territory, they fight them back. But what is also most important is, across that flank also before, the French had something called the Operation Barkhane, where the French troops used to fight. And Operation Barkhane was deployed when the Tuareg rebels started giving the Malians a lot of problems in 2012 under Amani Touré. The question we should ask is, one of the reasons why Assimi Goita said he was going to take power was because, the civilian also couldn't fight the Tuareg rebels properly. But the question is, has Assimi Goita been able to defeat the Tuareg rebels till today? No. And those are the numerous lies a lot of these military leaders also tell that are not true. The security challenges and the security impasse still pretty much continues. In fact, there was an assassination attempt recently on Assimi Goita's life himself.
All right.
I don't think anything is going to be greatly affected, but also, as regards of nation-to-nation relations, things are very strained.
Okay.
Not most of all the borders that have been opened between Nigeria and Niger.
All right.
Also, movement is still a very big challenge. And apart from that, we also have historical ties. Most of the people in the northern part of the country have relatives in other parts of Niger.
Exactly.
And things are just panning out. So, yes, it's going to be it's not going to affect things pretty much, because if you don't forget, our Nigerian military chief also went ahead to Niger to see those in charge in Niger.
All right, Ali Toro, president of the ECOWAS Commission, has specified that the withdrawal process for the three nations will span from January 29, 2025 to July 29, 2025. It's to provide time for final mediations and potential diplomatic efforts. So let's see. Let's hope that these nations that have left, things will work out for them. Now, let's look at a particular situation with a particular Charles Onwuru of Hope Democratic Party, who has actually filed a suit against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Apparently, the president is supposed to appear in court today, but obviously it's going to be his legal representative. Do you see the Supreme Court giving any credence to this? And do you see this individual who filed the suit getting anything out of it?
What's the case about, please?
Apparently, today in the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is to adjudicate a case that could determine the position of President Tinubu, who is facing a new lawsuit seeking his removal from office as Nigeria's leader. And there are two primary allegations: his purported disqualification from holding the presidential office and the unlawful usurpation of that position. And this lawsuit was initiated by Chief Ambrose Albert Owuru, a candidate from the 2019 presidential election representing the Hope Democratic Party. He filed the case directly with the Supreme Court. Do you see this amounting to anything?
I don't see this amounting to anything, because I think that case had been filed earlier before, and it was part of the case is filed. I think that means dismissed.
Well, they're going to listen to it today in court. Onwuru is urging the Supreme Court to disqualify the president on the grounds of forfeiture of $460,000 to the United States linked to alleged trafficking activities.
No. I think you're going to see that they're going to throw that case away, because we followed all of that cases. Most of those cases have been dismissed.
Hello?
You forget that. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
You forget that after the case of forfeiture came out, all right, they couldn't adjudicate it in the Nigeria court. They couldn't pass it through the Evidence Act as something. And we went through the whole gamut. Those were also the bulk of the cases that were put forward. And all of those cases have been defeated in the court. I'm sure the Supreme Court is just going to dismiss this one again.
Interesting.
Go
ahead.
The question is, does this conversation exist about that forfeiture? Yes. Does the conversation exist about the president's certificate also? Yes. But after that, getting it into the Nigerian judicial system then was problematic. I don't see anything going to change now. And Mr. Hope was part of the Hope presidential candidate, because I remember that case particularly. We were part of those that filed cases against the president before. And he had been dismissed at some point in the past. I don't see this going anywhere.
Well, based on the Nation newspaper this morning, they're saying that state's gas challenge is slowing down the federal government's CNG initiative. And we know how the government has been aggressively promoting the compressed natural gas initiative in the last 1 year. But it has recorded a slow turnout or a slow response and lukewarmness in some states. Does it mean that some state governors do not believe in the entire process of the CNG if they're not aggressively promoting it as the federal government has been doing? We saw some influencers who went to Dubai to actually go through the whole process to come back and give us positive reports. So what exactly are we hearing about this complaint from the state, as well as gas slowing down the process for centers to be created across the states or the federation?
Esther, the truth is the government is missing the point. It's not by taking influencers to go to India. It wasn't Dubai, it was India.
Okay, yes, India, true.
Yeah, it's not by taking influencers to go to India. You need to fix a proper CNG architecture and infrastructure. You don't have it in this country, Esther. The government is just playing.
So why are they aggressively promoting it? Do you know how much they pay those individuals to go monitor the entire process?
To be able to show that they are doing something when they are not doing anything. I'll give you an instance. I own a CNG car. There are not too many places to be able to get CNG gas in Lagos. There's one in Shangote, do I know of. There's another one in, I hear there's another one in Apapa, and there's another one in Ogba. So you don't have the pervasive stations to get the CNG. Secondly, you're not making the right investments. Thirdly, the buses you are bringing, how many CNG buses are there in the country? The only people that have done a full adoption of things like CNG for transportation are people like the Dangote Group, that most of their truck now have a lot of CNG. So the government is just playing with it.
Well, Rufai, you do know that with the presidential with the initiative on compressed natural gas, what the government has been able to achieve is to distribute about 150,000 kits and the conversion centers of 50,000 vehicles from petrol usage to CNG. This is very low. With all the monies that have been... You said?
Esther, is that not a joke for a government that promised adoption of over 5 million cars based on the TV Praise Silver plan and the other plans, have not only been able to distribute 150,000, even that 150,000, don't believe it yet until you see that 150,000 people collecting it. They can estimate it up to 150,000. So you're not even sure of it. So as far as it's concerned, you can donate 150,000 kits. Where are the CNG stations? How available it is? How pervasive is it? Have you done an infrastructure? How many thousand filling stations have CNG infrastructure in this country as we speak? So those ones are just joking. It was part of the plan to go to cushion the effect of petrol. It has shown that this government cannot even deliver on that CNG as we speak.
It's quite unfortunate.
So the truth is, people have now resorted to facing petrol and buying petrol when they have the money.
All right, Rufai, before I let you go.
That one's a joke.
All right, Rufai, the president has disclosed that he's not threatened by Obasanjo, Kwankwaso, or Obi's 2027 talks. You heard recently there was a meeting and some prominent political elites met to discuss certain issues. One of them is about the governance structure and looking ahead of 2027. For now, we've not had Peter Obi actually say anything. He's just been on his own lane, minding his business. There have been talks about huge defections within the Labour Party, which a couple of persons may consider that will weaken the Labour Party in 2027. Well, with all of these talks of merger, seeing how to unseat the president, the North not happy, and all of that, the president has disclosed that he's not afraid of all this political bigwigs. He's not afraid of whatever measure. He seems very confident, if at all he intends to run in 2027. What make you do of this?
Truth is, the president can show a point of confidence or can show that he's confident, but people also have a right to be able to plan politically.
Okay.
And forget it, the president too is looking the way of all these people and he's trying to calculate what they are doing. So if he shows an air of confidence, doesn't mean he's confident. Every politician doesn't see with both eyes.
Okay.
Secondly, those that defected from Labour Party are opportunists, and it shows. So Nigerians, and I said it during the election, a lot of people are going to come to the bandwagon of anything that is successful. Now, those that have defected are going to the APC because they want to secure their seats. So it shows.
Precisely.
And I think Nigeria needs to mark down these people that took their mandates and they defected. Most importantly, we need to now go back and write in our constitution that anybody that defects, you don't even need to go through the court, must be made to lose the seat and go and fight for the seat.
And that's what they're trying to do.
That, political rascality will continue. You don't even need to go to court. We should write it in our constitution. And please, leading up to the 2027 elections, what happened in 2023 will happen in 2027 again, except if we don't go back to the lawmakers now and tell them that all those INEC laws that were guidelines in 2023 should be made laws. If it doesn't happen, they will tell you again that IRF does not matter in election.
Exactly.
And that's why when Yakubu is coming out to say that they want to do sleep, I don't believe anything that come out of Yakubu's mouth. Because
just like you, a lot of Nigerians too don't believe.
I don't believe anything that somebody that told me that IRF was going to work, and today is not able to tell me what caused the glitch in the computer system till today. And you want me to believe anything that comes out of his mouth? So, like he says, and what Yakubu is doing as regards the sleep that the NM can, is not a new innovation by INEC. Yakubu should not be deceiving people. It was because Victor Okpatola, I interviewed Victor Okpatola on this dial.
Okay.
Took them to court because they didn't allow some voters in the last election votes that had temporary voters cards.
Exactly.
And they won against INEC in courts.
So that's why he infused it.
Yes, you don't let them deceive you.
And then the clamor for diasporans to be also part of the process too, because that was part of the new implementation in the electoral guidelines or in the electoral act.
They have the they have the right to be part of the process. But please, those electoral guidelines must be converted to laws. Okay. Because that was what they used as technicality in the last election. Because if they now get there now, they will say it's not a law yet. It's just a guideline. So we should be careful. If they don't convert most of these electoral guidelines to law, they will use it like they used in 2023 election against the people in 2027, and nothing will change. So we should start drumming it in the media now. Because it's when you get to the election process, they will say, oh, those were just guidelines. They are not law. They are not set in the books. I remember those were what they did for us in 2023. If they don't do that, 2027 election will not be different from 2023. A lot of people will just cry and cry foul, and nothing will happen.
All right, Rufai, I know that you're on your way to work. Finally, Apparently, Dele Faratimi is saying that he did not ask some big wigs to go and appeal on his behalf to Are Afe Babalola, and that was through his legal representative. He said he never asked Peter Obi or Basanjo or others who actually went to beg on his behalf. That's what his legal representative said. So Dele Faratimi seems to be quite confident. He says he doesn't need anybody's help to solicit on his behalf. What do you think this makes of it? A couple of persons say he's been radical, he's been proud, maybe because he feels that this way he'll become like a martyr to something significant. Others say he should calm down and allow the process to take, shape in terms of letting some persons intercede on his behalf. What do you make of his reaction or his response?
Dele Faratimi is a man of his strong convictions. I'll tell you a story. Go and check that back of that book. I was the one that wrote the blurb at the back of the book.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
That means you've not read the book.
No, I haven't read the book. I've ordered for it though, but I haven't received mine.
Get a copy of it. I was the one that wrote the blurb at the back. And I remember when he asked me to write the blurb and I read the copy, I said to him, are there evidences to back up? Are you sure of this?
You asked him this question?
Yes. And he's sure of his convictions.
So why is the court trying to stifle him so he doesn't get out to get his evidence?
You see, the truth is the court is not trying to stifle him.
Okay.
What is happening is it's the normal Nigerian system that the court tries to just keep you up in detention. There's this school of thought in Nigeria that they feel that once they keep you in detention, they will break you. No. When the trial starts, Dele Faratimi will be able to give his own side of the story. Maybe they are going to call him into the witness box.
Okay.
In the law, truth is the defense of defamation, isn't it?
Yes, obviously.
So he should get into the witness box and say it's true. Trial have not started. All of this, they're just trying to perfect bail terms. And they gave me a high bail term of 50 million. They were handcuffing me and all of that. Once all of this process goes, he will get into the witness box and tell you why he wrote what he wrote, and he will give you his evidence.
Okay, a couple of conservatives, those who are supporting Afe Babalola, are saying that with the supposed moral support Dele Faratimi is getting from the Nigerian populace, they've not been able to raise 50 million naira for him or some person with landed property to let him go on bail, to be released on bail.
Listen, it's not their own problem. When Dele is perfecting it, he will get his bail term perfected. They are working on his bail terms.
Okay.
So they should stop gloating. I don't know why people are gloating on behalf of a man trying to fix his bail term.
Well, those who are supporting the era, they're specifically.
I know when he perfects his bail term, he will be taken to trial and he will be in the witness box and he will talk.
All right.
And he will tell the world what he has. So nobody's trying to, it's just the Nigerian, judicial process that is trying to stifle things. And we know how it works. How a magistrate that normally you think should grant bail because the offense does not even exist in the Ekiti state law, decided to detain him, and they are putting bail at a big amount and all of that. Yes. And the reason why Dele Faratimi is still working on perfecting his bail time is because 50 million is a high sum in this country, and he has to take out time to be able to get his estate in right order before he does it. So let's leave all of that. But the most important thing is Dele Faratimi will be in the witness box and say his own truth at his own time.
All right.
That's just it. And that's the most important thing. Let him have his day in court. And him saying he didn't see anybody should go and beg him, he's sure of his convictions.
Okay.
That's just it. So let him go and face it.
Okay.
And yes, there have also been talks that Obasanjo are trying to wade in and other people. Yes, it's only right. Elders will wade in society. We Yorubas have been saying that you can't have an elder in the marketplace and the head of a child will tilt apart. Yes, those ones will do their work. But let Dele go and speak his own truth. He will be in the witness box someday.
All right.
Yeah. So they will tell you, why did you do this on this basis? He will start to bring out his own facts and evidence.
All right, fine. Let me let you go.
Yeah, he highlighted some of them. He highlighted some of them in the book. We all saw where a judge even had to sanction some of these top lawyers in this country as regards that, and he even gave them a fine.
Yes, very recent actually. That was last month. That was last month. For Adeshoye, he was on your platform. For Adeshoye, he says that there is no system that does not have this Malay There is no system that doesn't have this corruption. That there is no system you don't have persons who will definitely blur the lines. And that is what Justice Kekeruko is trying to flush out, sanitize.
My sister, is it not in this country you and I did that Fela made the famous speech that George don't beg, where the judge, it was alleged, saw Fela in the hospital and came to meet him and said it was precious from powers that be that made me jail you. And you remember the famous story that ran then in the 80s that George don't beg. So we're in this country now. Eh?
All right,
so that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Let me let you go. I would have loved to ask you one more question on a particular topic.
We have taken so much time. Let me do.
All right,
Esther,
bye-bye.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And I want to thank you especially for all your service.
Thank you. Thank you, Rufai.
Thank you for your steadfastness. I was listening to your show yesterday night. Very great political insight on Sunday night.
Thank you.
Part of our diamonds have made us great and grand. Thank you.
Thank you, Rufai. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. All right. We'll take a very short break. We need to pay some bills. And then when we return, we'll take your reaction. I would like to actually call Mr. Elvis Elimehele because there are a couple of issues I want him to discuss on the national dailies this morning. I want to hear his purview as well. And then I begin to take your calls and your reaction. But do stay with us. Let's take this very short break. We'll be right back.
Jendol Superstores is one of Nigeria's biggest and fastest growing retail stores that offers a one-stop shopping experience to numerous customers through its affordable retail prices, quality customer service, digital innovations, strategic expansion, and commendable community engagement projects that impact positively in the lives of our host communities. As part of our corporate social responsibility, Jendol Superstores has successfully organized and sponsored an annual schools debate competition for all students in public secondary schools across Lagos to promote their educational and youth development skills, boost their confidence in public speaking, and promote academic excellence as our leaders of tomorrow. To this end, this year's school debate competition, tagged Season 2, stood out as a flagship event that attracted over 200 public senior secondary schools in Lagos State. With 350 participants, 18 contestants emerged in the first round of screening to set the stage ready for the semi-final, which produced 6 contestants that eventually made it to the grand finale. Today, a winner of the Jendol Annual Schools Debate Competition Season 2 has emerged in person of Kaide Mercy Oshibamowo, a 14-year-old student from Ajegule Senior High School, Ketu, in Kosofe Education District 2 of Lagos State. She emerged as the winner. Stand up. Courtesy of Jendol Superstores, Miss Kaide Oshibamowo has been awarded ₦500,000 cash, gift prizes worth over 630,000 naira, a full scholarship to any university of her choice, plus an exclusive ambassadorship deal with Alat from Wema Bank PLC. Jendol Annual Schools Debate Championship is endorsed by the Lagos State Government through the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education and is fully sponsored by Jendol Superstores as part of our corporate social responsibility to our host community.
Can't you see I'm on the move?
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
As the years they go, we dey work for dough.
Some days it's fast, some days it's slow. Many highs and lows, but we carry go. Nothing go stop our doing so. Now the night just spirit, yes we move. With family, there's love at home. We know say Christmas, it don't come over. Blow the trumpet, it parampe.
Hello, I go. Everywhere you go. Everybody go lo. We go enjoy, so we go
celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. When you hear the bell, do everybody celebrate. It's a yellow Christmas, so we celebrate. We do it anyway, any place.
Disconnect from distractions. Go make a difference this season. Merry Christmas from MTN.
This is your number one radio station at VOP 90.3 FM. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're still on the front page review right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. We just finished up with Rufai Oseni, and I told you before we went on that break that I will be having Mr. Elvis Elimehele join me next. And of course, Mr. Elvis is already joining me via the telephone. Mr. Elvis, compliments of the season. Good morning to you.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm so sorry. Did I wake you up from sleep? Because you still sound like you're sleepy.
No, not at all.
All right, Mr. Elvis, I and Rufai just looked at some of the headlines across some select national dailies, but there are quite a couple of controversial headlines as well that has set the tone wagging in the political scene. I'm sure you and I talked about it, I think 2 Sundays ago, about the declaration of the United States of Biafra, and it's on the news again. Apparently, just 2 days ago, there are talks about some persons complaining, specifically the IPOP political wing, on the new Prime Minister of the Biafran government in exile. You know that Simon Ekpa right now is in the Finnish custody, and not just in the custody, he's been sent to one of the toughest prisons for criminals in Finland. And since then, the person who was taking over his stead is a woman called Ngozi Orabueze. Now, apparently, according to what IPOP, the political wing, is charging her, they're charging her for mass murder. They're saying that she's responsible for killing innocent civilians in the southeast under the guise of Biafra agitation. And apparently, since the principal went on exile, there's been quite a lot of internal wrangling within that region. Now, a couple of persons are asking the question that if in just 1 month that Simon Ekpa was taken away and there is this situation within the union or within the group, how does that help, broaden the supposed Biafran journey or the Biafran dream or the realization if you're beginning to see some leaders within the group being accused of, mass murder? This is coming from IPOP's political wing. Now, they say there have been repeated calls and appeals from political stakeholders and leaders of thought in the troubled region, urging Orabueze to desist from their violent Biafra campaigns. But a couple of persons are saying this is basically just an arm-twisting method from IPOP's political wing to quash the effects or the resolution made by the United States of Biafran or the Biafran Republic in Exile government. What's your take on this, sir?
Well, to start with, the Nigeria, most of us who are opportune to speak in the media have been condemning the killing in the Southeast. We are not happy about it. And now, even since the arrest of the former Prime Minister, Simon Ekpa, still continues. It has not abated. And the Ngozi that just took over as the Prime Minister has not even fared well. It even picked a solution to quell the killing. So if she's arrested because of killing in the Southeast, definitely I welcome it, because if you want to give people liberation, you want to emancipate people from the free and the oppression we faced over the years, it doesn't compare.
But Mr. Elvis, a couple of critics feel that how can she be accused of the killings in the Southeast when she just took over? how can she be accused of that? Because IPOB's political wing in the petition is arguing that Ngozi's war utterances and actions have resulted in the death of civilians. Since when? Because some members within the group are having issue with the fact that she liaises with some persons in Nigeria, that is, some political persons in Nigeria. You know, she was part of the People's Democratic Party before. And they complain that she's not supposed to be having any conversation with such elements, that, you know, she could be considered to be a mole. So this particular wing of IPOB, that's a political wing of IPOB, having to accuse her of being the one responsible for the killings in the Southeast. When did she take over the reins that she will now be the one responsible for the killings in the Southeast? I'm trying to reconnect with Mr. Elvis because there's a network situation there. Mr. Elvis, did you hear my last question?
No, I didn't hear you.
The network was poor. I said, when did she take over the reign of leadership that she's been accused of the one responsible for the killings in the Southeast? I mean, if you're having internal wranglings, it's understandable. It's a new trajectory for them, and they're trying to understand their terrain. But the political wing of IPOB coming up and writing this petition to the United States government, petitioning her for mass murder in the Southeast when she just took over, how does that correlate? What evidence do they have to prove otherwise?
Where?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir. Go ahead.
And those internal wranglings will break the ranks and the unity that they have had over the years. And those internal wranglings can also be marshaled by government, you know, to have a way to break in and be able to and see how this issue of Biafra and killing in the Southeast has to be resolved. As a political watcher, if this internal wrangling continues, the purpose for IPOB may be defeated over a period of time. And remember, Nnamdi Kanu, if it's eventually released, we have a lot of work to do if there are internal wrangling in what the IPOB is set up. And that we'll see, it's just going to be like what is happening in some of these political parties we see in Nigeria for Canada. Factions. If faction comes in, it means the unity and the purpose for which IPOB was setting is already being defeated. Okay. And that will now, if I have to solve it, to bring it to a situation where the purpose for which it's set up is achieved, will take a long while. And within that period of that wrangling, this action of the Republic of Biafra will not be in this discussion any longer. It will not be how to solve the internal wrangling within themselves before they can forge ahead in trying to achieve the purpose for which IPOB was set up.
All right. So I'm sure you heard about the information that Simon Ekpa himself is being detained in one of the toughest prisons in Finland. It's called Kilmakoski Prison. It's reputed to be one of the world's toughest prisons. Kilmakoski Prison is a high security facility and is located in Vanhamanti, Aka, Finland. So it is likely that Ekpa may spend Christmas and New Year holidays in detention, given the stance taken by the Finnish authorities. Why I'm bringing this up is the Chief of Defense Staff actually said something via a Monitor television program very recently. He actually continued to blame IPOB for the insecurity in the Southeast. IPOB has always distanced themselves from the Biafran government in exile, from the Simon Ekpa group, and they have always said they're not the ones responsible for the mayhem in the Southeast. But Chief of Defense Staff continues to reiterate that it is indeed the IPOB that is actually responsible for that. And then he also alluded that since Simon Ekpa has been arrested, that some form of resolute peace has returned in the Southeast. What can you make by that concept he created, the image he planted in the minds of people with that broadcast?
Well, I watched that broadcast, that from when the Chief of Defense Staff said that. But you also know that the Nigerian government said IPOB is a proscribed organization. And because of that, that is one of the reasons why they see IPOB activities as criminal activities, whatever they are doing. And that's in line with what the Chief of Defense Staff spoke on. Really, I don't have any sympathy for Simon Ekpa. Simon Ekpa brought this violent nature into whatever is going on in the South.
His supporters and followers don't believe so. They would literally argue with you that he never did any of such. Rather, what he did was to protect the horizon.
Yes, Esther, you remember last time I said something like this in the studio? I was battered, by his supporters.
Yes.
Because when Nnamdi Kanu was managing IPOB, there was no violence. People were not making it. When he now, right here in Finland, began to talk of sit at home, began to talk of how they are going to burn police stations and all that, violence started coming in. Violence started, claiming people's lives. And nobody would be happy about that. People are dying. So he's been incarcerated all over there in Finland. To me, I welcome it. Let the Finnish authority, charge him to court, and whatever comes out of it, let him be sentenced accordingly. So that we over here at home, our brothers in Southeast, can begin to have peace. Then if Nnamdi Kanu is eventually released from the prison, Nnamdi Kanu cannot pick up the struggle he has started. Very peaceful struggle he has started. That Simon Ekpa will kill me and turn into violence.
Mr. Elvis, that will depend on the conditions he agrees to, because it will obviously be one of the conditions for his release if he will stop his agitation. What if he declines that? Does it mean he will continue to remain in custody? Does it mean he will continue to remain incarcerated within the State Security Service?
No, I know the federal is going to be released. I know the federal government is going to set some conditions. But you also know too well that whatever condition that comes up, dialogue and lobby can also still find a way to bring amelioration into it.
All right.
I don't think even if Nnamdi Kanu is released today, he's going to renege in the struggle he has started. He may not renege. But maybe he's going to have another strategy in trying to fine-tune it to bring his dreams to reality. But this aspect of it is a total condemnation.
All right, Mr. Elvis, speaking on the insecurity generally in Nigeria, the Southeast is one region going through that, but we have the Northeast and the North Central as well going through the same thing, the annihilation of some persons, mutilation, pillaging, and taking over of lands and properties by supposed Fulani headsmen. In that particular interview with the Chief of Defense Staff, he talked about the fact that what they have issues with is weaponry. Now, the anchor asked him a question that, is it not important for them to get mercenaries like former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did at the time to flush out these elements with their sophisticated weapons? And the Chief of Defense Staff said the Nigerian military is capable of flushing these guys out. So if they are capable of flushing these guys out, why have we had this recurrent insecurity in that region, even too in the Southeast? Also, the anchor asked, what about all the military checkpoints along the Southeast? In every kilometer you see a military checkpoint there. He said the frisking of these individuals was important, that they've been able to disarm some persons trying to penetrate into some of the communities with arms and weaponry. We don't know how true that is. And he was asked a question, what about those that extort, bribes, collect monies from some young persons while they're trying to convey themselves to their communities in the Southeast and along the other axis too, where there are checkpoints? And he said, well, it's an issue they're trying to deal with, specifically with the Nigerian police. They're also calling on social efforts and social cohesion and trying to prevent international human rights from actually calling them out by saying that they have abused and dehumanized persons in their response to fighting insecurity. Do we see the Nigerian military flushing these guys out as soon as possible based on all the promises and supposed positive responses that was given by the Chief of Defense Staff in that interview?
Yeah, they may not be able to flush them out as soon as possible because of the following reasons. One, he spoke extensively on equipment.
Yes.
That they don't have as much as they expected to have. Sophisticated. One. Two, even the manpower is not enough. Until the federal government is able to put these things into the right perspective, equipment, manpower, then welfare of personnel, it will still take a long while. But however, I think this chief of defense staff seems to be very enthusiastic in ending the insurgency or whatever in Nigeria. And he knows exactly, because he was in the theater
Yes.
right there in Northeast before he became a chief of defense staff. So he knows so much about the insurgency. But what we are looking at is that this present administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu should be able to empower the military more, so that they can, because since he came in, Lakurawa has joined the ones we had before. We have Boko Haram, ISWAP before, and now we have Lakurawa, and we have the unknown gunmen right there in the southeast. So it's much. And as a result of that, they need more personnel and they need more equipment.
Well,
And
if they
he
need
said
more
that
personnel, he
Nigeria
did not admit it. He said they actually can work it out on their own, which means that he confidently stated that they have the personnel. The only thing he acknowledged was that they do not have the weaponry to fight. But he said they're already copulating arms. He said he was coming from Jaji and they're already making their own ammunition.
He said they are assembling presently and are working towards making their own. That is not. It's not sufficient to assemble, because if you are still assembling, you are still importing the compartment before you assemble them. What we are looking at is, apart from assembly, let there be production and let the government invest much. You see what is happening in the world today. In the world now, there's so much war going on. Most of these countries that you see that are fighting this war, some of them manufacture this thing by themselves. That's why they are able to sustain themselves over a period of time. So Nigeria, with the level of insecurity in this nation, Nigeria needs to look into that. They have a DICON, defense industry. They have the defense industry that manufacture small arms and ammunition. They should improve on that, so that before you know what is happening, this insurgency you are seeing are sponsored by some foreign elements. If we have a higher firepower in terms of manufacturing of equipment and importation of sophisticated equipment, the Nigerian army will be able to quell it over a period of time.
Mr. Elvis, the main question a lot of persons are asking in terms of insecurity is, with the kind of military presence in the southeast, why is that military presence not along the axis that is more volatile and that has been prone to insecurity, like Boko Haram, ISWAP and Lakurawa, especially in the northern region? Why don't you have checkpoints at major kilometers across that axis, to apprehend these individuals? Because if you look at the terrain from above the ground, you wouldn't see such presence like you would have in the southeast. So is it because the land is vast? Is it that they do not have that kind of military presence to make their presence more obvious in that very vast location? That's one. Two, is there some politicizing to insecurity in Nigeria? That is, some persons gaining from it. You talked about them being heavily financed. I want to bring your mind to something. The former chief of army staff, I want to recall his name. He's a Hausa man, so under the President Muhammadu Buhari, he during his time was given a lot of money within the Nigerian budget. A lot of money was conscripted to the Nigerian army. The same thing too with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So if you keep on asking for monies being given to these guys, what can they make of the ones already given to them?
Well, I think you are trying to recall Buratai.
Yes, thank you very much, Buratai.
Yeah, Buratai at the time, saw him like a political soldier, because he stayed so long and he didn't really achieve much. What is happening in the southeast regarding the proliferation of checkpoints is suspicious. It's not just because of the insecurity. These are part of the things we are saying that the Southeasterners should at least be given that respect and be allowed to breathe as expected. We don't have such number of checkpoints in the northeast and in the southeast, where you have banditry and insurgency. Why militarizing the whole of southeast? I think the southeastern politicians, the political bigwigs, should speak to the government on that. And even I expected the legislators, the National Assembly, Assembly to also bring this, into limelight so that some of those checkpoints can be dismantled.
Yes.
They said, yes, they have been able to puncture some, criminals, using the routes, bringing in arms and all that. Yeah, it's good, but that does not mean the area should be completely militarized. It slows down the economic activities in that region. And people who are traveling home now for this U-type period are finding it difficult because almost every kilometer you have checkpoint. How do you maneuver such? Yet the killings are still there. So I think there should be a review in that.
IPOP has instructed those who want to travel home that they'll be protected. We've actually seen, pictures and videos of a lot of people traveling home now. They assuring them that nothing will happen. We're hoping that we're not going to hear any insecurity or whatever along that axis. But like you talked about, they should demilitarize that axis. It's important for that axis to be demilitarized. The heavy military presence there, it's not a war zone. Nigeria is not at war, or there's a war between Nigeria and the Southeast. So that place should be demilitarized. Mr. Elvis Ali Mehele, I want to say thank you so much for taking your time to share your perspective. I know I called you all of a sudden. I sincerely do appreciate. We need to get the reaction of our listeners and those who want to give us their own recommendation to some of the stuff that we've talked about here.
Thank you, Esther.
Thank you very much, Mr. Elvis. The number for you to call is 0700 903 903 903. That's the number for you to call, 0700 903 903 903. And the WhatsApp number is 0817 1756 338. 0817 1756 338. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Front Page Review. How are you, sir?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, my name is Peter Monse, calling you from Shomolu.
All right, Peter Monse, please go ahead. You have a minute.
Yes, see, for me, the chief of defense staff is not honest. It's not serious about saying that it's tackling the extortion report that is going on in the Southeast. I gave us an empirical evidence of what my brother told me. Those armies there at those checkpoints, they are not taking influx of any light weapons or whatever at all. They are collecting money from Nigeria and they will tell the driver, your car, you will pay 5,000. This one, you pay 10,000. And what they do is they will drop passengers. The driver will go, pay the money, and then remove the lock on the way. Go back and enter his vehicle and drive and pass that place. Is that how to take care of a country? Is that Nigeria? They're not serious. See, if you want to tell me that you want to fight insurgency, for me, it's not about weapons. It's about the political will of the military. It's about sincerity and honesty of the military. It's about the love for Nigeria. Some of them these days don't have the love for this country. They are just making money. And now terrorists will kill Nigerians. Police will kill Nigerians. 10,000 Nigerians die in army detention. Is that a good report? See, I want to finally say this. The present government is not interested in Nigerian life. Now, you come on NG card, you promise, you don't give electricity, you don't give drugs in the hospital, you don't allow security to be around in Nigeria, children don't go back to school, common water. Now, yesterday I bought 3 sachets of water for 100 naira. The thing that 100 naira used to pay back before of 20. APC government Nigerians, let me ask them, can they do us a favor by telling us that they will not participate in 2027 election? Because we don't need the reggae. It's not about political parties. It's about the suffering Nigerians now.
All right,
we are fighting
Peter
against
Mansi.
judiciary.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We are fighting against silence and APC.
Thank
there
you.
we go. They must go.
Thank you, Peter Munse. Thank you. Good morning. 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. We have some WhatsApp messages, so let me read it out here. Okay, let me pick this call. Hello, good morning. How are you? Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, this is Fabulous speaking. I'm calling from Thailand.
All right, Fabulous. Go ahead. You have a minute.
Okay, so I just wanna say that I disagree with your guest.
Which of them, please? Rufai or Mr. Elvis?
But yes, I disagree with him in the sense that you cannot come and analyze this kind of thing that is happening in Southeast and you are pointing finger at one person. let me quickly say this. I cannot just also deny that Simon Ekpa it didn't contribute to the insecurity that is happening in Southeast. But it will be very, very unjust or fair to say that upon all what is in social media, Asari Dokobo, even the Nigeria military, all that is happening in Southeast, at the end of the day now, they are sidelining all those things and now pointing finger at Simon Ekpa, which is something they also do at the time of Mazen Nande Kanu. And the same people now are the people that are calling for the release of. You see, many people in Southeast are confused. They are confused. So going forward, I want to also contribute. Federal government should release Mazen Nande Kanu so that we will know what's happening in Southeast. And again, Nigeria should wake up. Nigeria should wake up. They are pushing them to the wall too much. They should wake up. Many things are happening. Thank you, my sister.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the front page. How are you?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Name and location, please.
I'm calling you from Lagos. My name is Job.
All right, Joe. You sound down this morning, Joe. Hope you're okay.
Yeah, I'm on the bed. I'm just listening to.
Enjoyment. All right, go ahead,
Thank
Joe.
you.
You have a minute.
Okay. Now, when people talk about IPOB, this one is saying this, the other fraction is saying this. Sometimes it's very laughable because the political class, they are part of the IPOB who are playing the game of let's try to confuse these people. But the reality on ground is so clear. Have you even traveled to the city and see what is going on by yourself? There was a time I was in Enugu. I was there around my night mile in Enugu. There was a village that we were supposed to walk. We were traveling to that village. We saw these herdsmen that are carrying their cows in the bush. They are passing through people's farm, destroying people's farm. There was a day we were coming back. The people were running up and down.
And they were doing that unprovoked. Unprovoked.
Yes. I saw it with my eye. We were coming back. They entered somebody's farm. They're like, the farmers, they were in the farm. So they were trying to resist them. So they were just running up and down. We were in the vehicle. We were so afraid that somebody was saying, hey, let them not kill these people. They were just like, everybody was so afraid. And there is a police checking point to that, army checking point to that place where they stopped our vehicle and they collected money. Just like two minutes drive away from there, that thing was happening. And we were just so afraid. So many cars were on the road. And there was nobody like sign of police or military to come and even calm the situation. There was nothing like that before our driver drove away. Then when these things happen, at the end of the day, we say it's IPOB that are killing people and it's the Simon Ekpa faction that are killing people in the Southeast. If the government want to really solve this problem, what is the effect of the army over there? How many people have they arrested as a genuine people?
Exactly.
How many people have they arrested as a genuine people? How many people have they brought to the table to ask them, why are you
or
doing
even
this?
taken to court, not the ones that they just took and they disappeared.
Exactly. Not the one that will just parade people that are parading. If you look at the people, the innocence is just showing that people who are told to say this thing. Not anybody concrete that they will bring to book and say, okay, this is the person that we caught among these people.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Esther.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to the front page review.
Yeah, this is Situ calling you from Freight and Sierra Leone.
All right, Situ, you have a minute. Situ, please speak calmly. Don't shout. Go ahead.
Thank you, Esther, for a good job. Let me say something briefly here, just like the last caller said.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
There's some people like us, like we live in Southeast or grow in Southeast before we lived here. We know exactly what is happening in Southeast. I don't want people who don't live in Southeast to come and tell us exactly what is happening in Southeast. Okay?
Okay.
It will look very good for us who are coming here to tell our people exactly what is happening. Every checkpoint where army and police stays in Southeast, 1 kilometer, you will see people that kidnapped people from there. The army knows who they are. I am telling you, this is not propaganda. This is the truth. Every checkpoint you see in the Southeast, watch by the side of the bush, people come out there and kidnap. Why is the army not arresting those people? Why? This thing I'm saying here, the army general who come and start telling the world that IPOB is responsible is a lie. It's a lie of IPOB is not responsible for insecurity in the southeast. If IPOB is responsible, I will come here and tell the whole world that IPOB. The only thing they are against IPOB is that IPOB single-handedly drove the Fulani terrorists that are coming to rape our mothers in the farm. That is why it did not go well with the North. With Muhammad Buhari regime, IPOB did this. The record is there. Go and ask every Igbo politicians what IPOB. They will never tell you people this thing. It did not go well with some Igbo politicians because they had not reported them. So you are here. IPOB taking charge. The Devil Mahi was the one who brought pure insecurity in the southeast.
Situ, please don't defame, don't slander if you don't have your evidence. I beg you, please.
Okay, let me finish. Esther, okay, let me finish. Go and make your investigation. Who brought Ebobago? Who is the one who initiated Ebobago?
Okay, we already know. We already know about Obibago. We already know who conscripted that union. That one is obvious. That's an official one. Go ahead.
And Esther, go and make a investigation. Who bring us back to Imo State?
Okay.
These things are giving you first-hand information. The reason why this army general is coming to say he is part of the criminal, himself. We know the activities in the southeast. That Mustafa, whatever they call him, he's a criminal. Ask him why his men are kidnapping people in the southeast.
I told you not to defame, slander, or insult anybody. If you have any evidence to prove that the chief of defense staff is a criminal, prove it or you go to court with it. Don't come here and make such a statement, please. Yes. Yes.
Why is his men watch kidnappers kidnap and go free? Since they bring all the whole military in the southeast and his men will be there, they watch these criminals come and kidnap people in 2 meters where they are.
All right.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I need to take more calls. All right. Thank you very much. Please, when you call in, do not generalize. If you don't have any evidence to prove otherwise, do not generalize. It's very, very important. This is a very frail and sensitive time in our polity. Let us not continue hitting up the polity with some statements that are unverifiable. Make sure your statement is verifiable before you say it here. All right. Let me read some messages. Hello. Good morning. How are you? Welcome to the front page.
Thank you, Esther.
Good morning, sir.
You. Good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning, viewers and listeners to you. I had
What's your name? What's your name?
My name is Uchechukwu Nwachukwu from Oshiri.
All right, Uchechukwu Nwachukwu. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
Really, what is playing out in the East is the same voice of the hatred that started 1960 something. It's still the same thing that is playing out under political form. Now, East has been a secured and peaceful place all through until the two governors that joined APC, either they came from ballot or came from court in eastern Nigeria. If you can't, anybody can reason very well. It's these two governors that brought insecurity in the southeast. I have been in the east. I grew in the east. I school in the east. In fact, I'm 60-something years. I want to tell you that no matter what they're saying, Samelepa, Nandekalo, and all through the whole thing was peaceful until these two governors. You people don't want us to call the names, but we live. We live with them. We stay with them. But because they have political will, political power, weapons for shooting people, can't you people hear what one of the governors said?
All right.
That even if he killed the whole youth and they remain old women, that he will govern the old women. Why are we doing all these things?
All right, thank you.
Are we kids?
Let's take more calls.
So this is what is playing out in the southeast up to now.
Thank you so much.
That is coming up.
Thank you. I really appreciate you calling in, okay? Let me take some messages. Good morning, VOP family. NNPCL reduced pump price by 20 naira to meet a mockery to Nigerian masses. Of what impact is it on the prices of goods in the market and transport? NNPCL should be serious for once. One expects opposition parties to compel the ruling party under President Tinubu to give the people good governance instead of talking about 2027 election that is still far away. Benjamin from Shuguli. Benjamin, thank you so much. Good morning. It was rumored that the current ANEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, passed away. I thank God it has been debunked, but if truly he is alive, I want him to go through the comments of Nigerians in social media and use his tongue to count his teeth. I believe that God has given him second chance to amend his ways. This current suffering, hardship and misery we're passing through was because of the outcome of the last election, which we all know that the result was largely manipulated. Chewed from Ayatoro. Good morning, Chewed. Nigeria's major challenge lies in the lack of sincerity across various sectors, including politicians who prioritize personal interests over national progress, judiciary, compromised integrity and inconsistent rulings, public affairs commentators, biased analysis and hidden agendas, ordinary Nigerians, apathy and short-term thinking. It's high time we come together and fight our common enemies. Aberdeen from Bagada. Well done, Aberdeen. That was beautiful conscripted. Good morning, VOP. It is good news that local governments are receiving over 2 trillion naira allocation. I urge all the local councils to make judicious use of these funds for the betterment of the lives of our rural dwellers and not on frivolities. Bandits must face capital punishment, not life imprisonment, where tomorrow they'll be released or freed by their colleagues in crime. Let us be more circumspect in these things. OC Nwaj from Shasha. Thank you, OC. Good morning. Good morning, Esther Mwachiko. It's a beautiful morning. Let's go and make the money. Nigeria has not matured to use CNG. The internal issues in the Labour Party must be resolved amicably, or Mr. Peter Obi should form obedient movement. I don't know the reason Peter Obi makes himself available in everything. The issues of Babalola, he shouldn't involve himself. The countries that are leaving ECOWAS is a welcome development. The man who cannot take care of his household cannot be a leader to a group of people. Soon, what we will hear is that there was a country. Let them release Mazen Namdi Kanu, Prince Iotek from Arena Market. Well done, Prince Iotek. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Front Page Review.
Good morning, Esther.
Good morning to you, Remy. How are you?
I'm not bad, though. You be out document, man. I heard your voice last night.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, okay, cool. You see, Esther, before 2019 election, the federal government removed $1 billion from our wallet. They said they want to end insecurity. And senseless analysts came out and said, that is the way to go. And I keep telling them, Esther, if we solve half, if we half of what we spend on insecurity, fighting insecurity, if we spend that half on human capital development, my dear, we will not be here. Go around this country of South Africa, you realize that poverty everywhere. People are poor. Poverty is an inspiration for insecurity. If you end poverty, you will be fine. And that's why the 3 countries that are leaving ECOWAS, in my view, if leaving an association of impoverished people will better your life, you go solve poverty and inequality. We will be fine if we do that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. 0700 903 903 903. Some persons on YouTube are saying, Esther, allow people to talk. Yes, people can talk, but they can't talk anyhow. All right. We are national radio and we have laws and codes guiding us. So you can't come and just make any frivolous comment. So in as much as you want to express yourself, you have to express yourself within the confines, all right, of the code and rules and regulations and ethics of journalism and those who gave us the license. So basically, I sincerely apologize if I can't let you say what you want to say anyhow. All right. Hello. Good morning. How are you? Hello. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Hello. All right, call back 0700 903 903 903. That's the number to call, and the WhatsApp number is 0817 1756 338 0817 1756 338. That is the number to send your messages to. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Sister Esther.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fine. This is your regular caller. This is the evangelist from Solo.
All right, evangelist.
We love your program. I will continue to put mouth on your program.
Thank you so much, evangelist.
Please, what about our brother Gideon?
He's on leave. He'll be back by Monday.
Okay.
Yes, by Monday he'll be here.
It is well. It is well. See, the truth is that what is causing issue or problem in the Southeast and in Nigeria is because of why? Because of greedy and selfishness from majority of our politicians. and individual too. Some of our individuals too are also causing all these things because they know what to do, but they don't want to do it. Because of why? Because of greed and selfishness. And that is why our country is where our country is today. Now look at Lagos as Lagos as example.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello. Yes. Look at Lagos as example. Insecurity. Why we have some insecurity today in Lagos is because most of us we are doing what we can able to do. If you watch out some people who go around talking about Christ, giving people the word of God about sin, don't kill, don't steal, because the work of the devil is to kill, steal, and to destroy. So any man or woman who allows the devil to use him, that is what he use him to kill and to make people uncomfortable in Southeast. So that is why me myself, evangelist, I was asking for that speaker. If I decide to allow devil to use me, I will kill, I will steal, but I will not do it. I want to win so for God.
All right, thank you. 0700 903 903 903. Also, we're wrapping up the front page review. So let me read out some of your messages while more calls come in. From Mazi Ugochukwu, also known as Elder General Isheri Oshun, defecting of some Labour Party elected officers have nothing to do with obedient movement. During election, those bribing them will discover that they are fortune miners that have no followers. I don't know what makes our politicians to be happy in this country instead of them to do the needful. They are planning 2027 election. Free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. All right. Good morning, VOP members. My name is Ibezim from is it Oje or Jekunle Ladipo Market? This APC government are confused. Nigerians don't need CNG gas. Let them bring down the price of PMS. That is our problem. Until INEC and judiciary gives the good people a chance to govern Nigeria, this country can never move forward. Please let them free Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ibezimi is my name. Have a blessed week. You too have a blessed week. Good morning, Esther. Afe Babalola is not an octogenarian but a nonagenarian. Emeka from Abasai State. Okay. The president advised ECOWAS regions to learn from Ghana's recent election success. Very right and beautiful. Ghana's electoral body did not have a glitch. They conducted almost a flawless election, and the losers were happy because it was transparently conducted. They didn't wait for the Supreme Court decisions. It all ended in the polling booth and not questionable. I hope and pray that INEC should take this presidential advice seriously and implement them to the last letter. God bless Nigeria. Pastor Gabriel Ekuma from Alagbado. Well done, Pastor Gabriel. Good morning. Look, the people should not take what the APC and President Tinubu's government says serious anymore. They talk hollow without thoughts. They talk like a spoiled child with no regard for the people. They are really spoiled children. If you leave inheritance to a spoiled child who refuses to be good, he will squander everything to steal. Look at the profligacy going on in Rivers State and Abuja and the PDP because they just had a former governor and now FCT minister, a former contestant of a flagship of the PDP. Tochukwu Adile Thompson from Opanikoro. Thank you, Tochukwu. Good morning and happy new week. I'm so happy that my team Chelsea is doing well this season and giving me joy. At least it's easing me of Nigeria's conditions and situations. All right, well done. Yakubu has no credibility. His words are worthless. The man is a full-blown fraud that should never ever be trusted with anything. Opposition parties and CSO must push for comprehensive electoral reforms. Otherwise, 2027 will be worse than 2023. Meanwhile, the extremely corrupt judiciary must release daily so he can fight his case on a level playing ground. Nigerians must start to choose the best of us to rule the rest of us, to get the best from us. May God help and heal our land. Frank Onero from USA. Well done, Frank. Esther, good morning. Political wing of IPOB are nothing but paid political groups. They're doing the work of their employees. Spending Christmas in detention by Simon Ekpa is not new to freedom fighters. Kanu has been in detention for years now. Did anything change? People dying in Southeast. Is it different from the Northeast, South? Another person worse than Simon Ekpa is coming. Biafra must come. Time is coming when everyone will be tired of this thing called Nigeria. Mike from Isola. Okay, Mike. Well done. I'll take one final call so that we can wrap up this segment because we've exhausted our time. Good morning, VOP. Esther, the nation is gone. A nation where truth are no more accepted. The insecurity in the land, actually, it is the politicians that brought them for their political games, and now it's out of hand. Can this government release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? CY, honesty from Isolo. All right, CY. Okay, let me take this call. Hello. Good morning. Welcome to the front page. What's your name?
Esther.
Good morning.
Good morning, Esther.
Good morning, sir. What's your name?
Esther.
What's your name?
Yeah, Esther, please.
What's your name?
Please.
What is your name?
C2, calling back from
C2,
Freetown.
I'm sorry, I can't let you speak again. We've run out of time. Others have been trying to call. Ikuku from Jakonde. Esther, good morning. Please, Simon Ekpa Nnamdi Kanu is not our problem. The problems are government and politicians. Okay, thank you so much. APC should go. They have nothing to offer. A failed government and leadership. Billy from Ikotu. Hello, good morning. You're the final call on the front page review. What's your name?
Good morning, Esther Wachuku.
Good morning.
Compliments of the students.
Same to you.
My name is Peter Usipo. I'm calling from Abanoja in Ikotu.
All right.
First of all, I want to talk on the grandstanding of Dele Parotini.
All right.
You know, against Afema Balola. He's saying that people like Obasanjo, PKB, and the rest should not go and beg Afema Balola on his behalf.
He said he did not ask them to beg on his behalf. He didn't say they should, yes. He said he didn't ask them.
All right. Okay, indirectly, that's what he meant. Yeah, what he meant to. But I believe he'll be able to go to court and stand his ground on the libelous aspect of the defamation of character.
Okay.
Because I know it is a premeditated defamation of character when he wrote that book. Just because he said that Afema Balola had done that to him when he went to court against Afema Balola on libel, and Afema Balola won him in the Supreme Court.
Right.
That is that. Then for the Igbos, that is the IPOB. I don't know why they are not, united. The Nnamdi Kanu's aspect are against Simon Edda. You understand? But I know that all of them are one. So they are not united now because they want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. Why they want Simon Edda to be sacrificed? This is very wrong. This is act of cowardice.
You're generalizing, but all right,
thank
you. Thank you for calling. We've come to a wrap on the front page review this morning. Thank you for some of you who called in and for some of you who sent messages. We sincerely do appreciate you. This program will continue tomorrow morning as well, where we get to look at some selected national dailies, on some headlines on some selected national dailies, and look at some of those controversial issues. My name is Esther Wachiko, signing off for now. See you later at 10:30. Good morning.